At 5 months, Tyler McCaw is full of giggles, his tiny hands and feet always moving.
That's Tyler when he was just born.
When his mom, Kimmy, got pregnant, she and her husband, Justin, already had 2 little girls and an older son from Justin's previous marriage. Everything seemed to be going well until last May, when a sonogram confirmed Tyler would have spina bifida. Kimmy, who has some hearing loss, was overcome.
I remember laying on that table and he was telling me, well, these are the problems that come with it, which is they develop hydrocephalus, which is fluid on the brain, and that you probably wouldn't walk.
You ever had the wind knocked out of you? That's pretty much kind of the feeling that you get.
Right away, they heard about groundbreaking surgeries that could happen in utero while Kimmy was still pregnant. But the first team they met with told them Tyler wouldn't qualify because of the particular curvature in his spine.
He said it's outside of the scope of the studies for this particular defect. There's nobody that would be willing to do the surgery.
They told you there's no place you can go.
Correct, yes.
Yeah.
She sent me there.
But 5 days later, Kimmy texted an article to Justin about Dr. Daryl Cass at the Cleveland Clinic, and they left a message.
I was getting a call from Cleveland, Ohio. This is what I heard. I will never forget it. Yeah, Mr. McCall, this is Dr. Daryl Cass. I'm the head of fetal surgery here at the Cleveland Clinic. Do you have a minute to chat with me?
Dr. Cass had already performed more than 6 procedures to close defects in fetal spines, but for his team in Cleveland, it was relatively new. And given how far along Kimmy was, this one needed to happen right away.
We do a cesarean type incision. We bring the uterus out, and then we open the uterus, and then proceeded to do the repair of Tyler's back.
Similar to this surgery, the procedure took about 4 hours.
In medicine, this is one of the top advances that has happened in the last 20 years.
For both you and your son, it's going to be a risky surgery. Why would you take the risk?
Why not? As a mom, you want to do everything you can.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's not so big.
Yeah.
So it was like a few inches? A few inches maybe? Yeah.
On September 14th, 2019, Tyler came into the world a bit early at 34 weeks.
She was just like, I just want to hear him cry. I just want to hear him cry.
He weighed 5 pounds, 7 ounces. And after 12 days in the NICU, he finally met his big sisters and brother.
You born my kid? He still has this little problem, that he's going to need help with.
He still has spina bifida.
Yeah, he does. There is no cure for spina bifida. What the surgery does is it helps to try to eliminate further problems.
Can you give me another push?
They already noticed Tyler seems to use his legs to push up. That could be a good sign.
Oh, there you go. Keep going.
As you sit here now, how do you feel about his future?
I'm hopeful. I really am. Is that a baby penguin?
We know that there are people out there that are like us that have been told, I'm sorry, there's nothing that anybody will do or can do. And they need hope. They need to hear that it's not hopeless.
They are so beautiful, right? Dr. Cass told us that by age 3, at least twice as many kids with spina bifida can walk independently when they've had that in utero surgical repair. Twice as many kids. And they say the key is that when you make the repair during pregnancy, the body is still developing, the fetus is still developing, and so some things that would have happened can reverse themselves. And that's why the prognosis is so good. They're really hoping that one day this will become the standard of care for anyone who has
everything from the doctor calling them on the phone,
which they found. The one medical institution says, this is impossible, this can't be done.
Right.
Then they find it
on their own.
And he calls them back.
How much does this cost?
So it's expensive. It's a really good question. It's thousands and thousands of dollars, and insurance really doesn't cover it a lot. So I talked to the Spina Bifida Association, and they said while they love that this surgery exists, it's not accessible for everyone. Think about, you have to move your family. They live in Oklahoma. They had to go to Cleveland for months. It's expensive, and so people who have means can get at this, and people who don't have means, they worry can't, and that they worry there's that division there. So
hopefully this makes it more accessible.
Yeah.
So, thank you, Kate. That was a great story.
Incredible, Kate. Thank you.